Shalom, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Eenie Frost, and we are going to be preparing a wonderful brunch today. Now, if you are going to prepare brunch, what's the first thing that you would think about? Bagels and lox. And that's exactly what we're going to make. But these are very unique bagels. In fact, the recipe comes all the way from Arizona. And I want you to meet my dear friend and neighbor, Gloria Zeev, who's going to show us how to make these wonderful bagels. Now, Gloria told me that when she came back from Arizona, she said, my mother, how did it work out, Gloria?
Well, when we go to Arizona every year, my mother always has a wonderful treat for us because she's a fabulous cook. And last year, she had these marvelous bagels that she had baked herself. And I was so excited about it. My husband just adored them, and I had to get the recipe, and here it is.
First, we thought we would keep it to ourselves because it's so easy. But I prevailed upon Gloria and her mother and said, please, let's tell the world about Arizona bagels. Now, here's the first thing that you do. Go to the store and buy the frozen dough. I find most of them come in about 16-ounce packages. There might be 2 loaves or 3 loaves. They're even coming in 5 loaves now. But they come 16-ounce, which would be 1 pound. Now, how many are you going to cut out of that one, Gloria?
I'm going to cut 8 out of the 1 pound, one pound loaf. There will be 8 pieces, 1 by 3 inch, I believe.
All right, when you cut them, do you use a ruler or you just kind of go by your
Well,
rule of
it's very
figuring?
easy.
Now, Gloria's an artist, so she knows how to figure. She knows how to measure it just by looking at it. All right, let's see how you do it, Gloria.
Okay,
how
we'll
do you figure
start with the middle.
in the middle? All right.
And
Now, in order to cut this is something like the dough that we used to use. You can either take this out the night before and keep going, or put
Okay.
it in the refrigerator. Or if you take it out, don't you find about 2 hours in the morning is enough time, Gloria?
that's plenty. 2
Of course,
hours will.
We did get up early this morning because Gloria's mother really helped us make them because we figured we have to have the pro with us. But we're going to hope that we can do it as well as she can. Now, when you have them in 8 pieces, then this is the trick, is how to really roll it. Now, I picked this up, and they always put a little flour on it, and I started to do it this way. But Gloria's mother said, Eenie, that's altogether wrong. You have to do it a certain way. All right, Gloria, you show them how you roll them
All
up.
right, it's just the easiest thing in the world because this is the kind of thing we used to do when we were kids. In fact, kids would love to do this. It's making a snake.
And that's really what this is about. We're trying to bring our traditions and our cooking into the kitchen. Bring the children in with you. They would love to do this. And it's when you have them in the kitchen that you can start to tell them about the values and the ethics that you feel are important, that are part of your lives and should be a part of their lives. And I really felt this was the most beautiful part of making the bagels when I saw Gloria and her mother standing together in the kitchen putting these together. Now, if I could only figure out, Gloria, how you do it with your hand. Now, here's another very technical part of it. You know, when you have something that has to be seamed together, and the seam is on the bottom, like strudel or something, it's very simple to do it because you can put it on the bottom. But when you're doing it with the bagel dough here, or with the bread dough, you have to seam this together very, very carefully because you don't want them to come apart. And the other thing is, watch them when you have them on here to be sure you have a nice hole. Because if you ever had a bagel, sometimes they don't have a real big hole in the middle. They kind of get baked together. Well, that can happen. So watch them very carefully to see that you have a nice big hole and that they are seamed together very nicely because that's an important part of it. And if you get them out about, what'd you say, about 6 inches,
About
Gloria?
6 inches is a good length.
Now, how do you seam them together? You just give it a good push?
I just
You
give
do.
it a good push.
A
You
good
can
push?
wet the ends if you'd like.
Because
And
mine don't seem to hold together good. Now, how do you
and,
get them to really hold here together so that they're going
if
to
you
stick?
like them to be a little more like cement, you can wet
Like
the ends
cement.
and push
Oh,
them
I
together. But it usually, when
Okay.
it starts rising, it does hold together.
They'll hold
It does
together
stay.
better?
Yeah.
All right, because I don't want them coming apart after all of this. 'Cause this is a fun thing, and if you're going to have a brunch or a lunch, and one thing about if you're going to have bagels and lox, you're not going to do it for yourself, right? And this is the Jewish way of doing things. We always do things together. In order to pray together, we have to have 10 people to have a minyan. When there's a death and you go to pay shiva, you must have a group of people. You must stay with that person all the time. When you have a happy event, you celebrate together. This is our way. It's a way of a people that have survived and lasted for thousands of years because of the togetherness, of helping each other. You know, when you pray together, there's a very beautiful feeling that comes into your heart. And I think that this is a part of even cooking together. Have you ever cooked together with a friend? Gloria and I have a riot. When we cook together, it takes a long time, but we have such a good time. Call up a friend and cook together. Or bring the kids in the kitchen and give them a chance. Oh, by the way, Gloria, now, did you grease the pan?
I did. I
did
greased
grease
the
it.
pan
Okay.
beforehand.
Because sometimes you kind of want to know whether you should grease it or not. But just be sure that you're not using something with salt, because that will make it stick. You know, grease it with something that is not salty. Otherwise, it may not rise, and that would be a calamity. All right, now we have the 8 on here, and what are we going to do?
We're going to let them rise.
All right, so I'll put this cover on them, and do you usually put them in a warm place, or do you usually just put them any place?
No, a warm, actually on top of the stove, or any place that might be warm in your kitchen, perhaps where the sun comes in or whatever.
Now these have been rising about how long?
About an hour, from 40 minutes to an hour.
All right.
And they are ready to be put in the boiling water.
All right.
And
now this is really technical. I said, Gloria, how long do you let these cook? You know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, how long do you put them in the water? Well, I'm going to let her tell you, because this is a very important part of it, and she has a special system. Mrs. Fisher said you have to do a certain thing. This is how you figure the timing on cooking the bagels. All right, Gloria, how do you figure it?
Very difficult. Pop it in the water, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds on one side, and turn it over on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is it. Then you take the slotted spoon.
Now that's really some timing. How can I explain to you? There are some things that's very difficult to explain, and this is one of them on the timing. But you just do what Gloria's doing, and it'll work out all right. The only thing I'm going to tell you is do not get involved in telephone calls when you're making these bagels, because that is the one thing that will get you off balance here. But just keep counting. No matter who walks in the door, who's talking to you, just keep right on giving them the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deal, and you'll see you won't have any trouble, because it works. I don't know what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means, but it works for them, and I've seen it work, and I think you're really going to enjoy this. You know, if you would like the recipes that we're making today, or any day, just send us a note to Enie's Kitchen at 1 South Franklin Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60606. And we'll be happy to send you any of the recipes that we're making, because we want everybody to try them, and I think that you're really going to enjoy them. Now, after you take them out, we have to make something that's very important to put on the bagels to give it a nice gloss. So we'll make a little egg wash of an egg. Now, when we crack the egg, you know, in order, we check it very carefully before we use it to see that there isn't any blood, because if there's any blood in this egg, it will not be kosher. So we check it carefully. We're going to add a tablespoon of water to the egg and just kind of beat it up a little bit in order to give it a nice, it'll give a nice sheen and a nice shine to our bagels, which is what we want to do. Are they coming, Gloria?
We're
Are they getting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 system?
They're getting their
They're getting their 1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2,
5
3,
deal?
4, 5 beauty wash or whatever.
All right. Can I give them a little egg wash here while you're finishing
Yes,
them?
these
All right,
are
these
all
are
done
finished?
here. Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to us when we cook together. We get involved talking about something, then we forget where we were. But that's part of the fun of cooking together. Try it. It really is a fun thing to do. Now let's see. You want to try to get that one over here?
All right.
We'll give them a little egg wash first, and that'll give it a good flavor. And then we're going to put something on top of them before we put them in the oven. We're going to put, what toppings should we use? Well, there's all kinds of wonderful toppings that you can put on your eggs. Jack loves sesame. Can I put some sesame on these two for Jack? Because that's what he really likes. Whenever we go in the stores, he always says he wants the one that has the sesame.
Well, if you give Jack sesame, you have to leave 2 plain for Leonard, because you know Leonard
Leonard is really a straight guy. He's a real steak and potatoes straight guy.
has to be plain.
Plain, plain, plain. All right, and then we tried a couple with caraway seeds. That gives it a nice feeling. And remember we tried the raisins? It didn't work out very well. How about you want to give a couple of them some onions? Actually, the problem with the raisins is they burnt. If you want to put it on the inside, it would be all right, but not on the outside. It really burnt. But one that I like, because I like cinnamon and sugar on everything. I like them on potato pancakes and on everything. So a little cinnamon and sugar gives it a nice flavor, and you'll see they'll get nice and brown after we bake them. All right, now I'm going to take them and put them in the oven, and you tell me, how do we do this, Gloria? What are we baking it on?
You bake them at 375 for about 30 to 35 minutes until they're nice and brown. And you can tell if you have a little window in your oven door when they're brown. If not, take a peek at 35 minutes and you'll see how brown they are. And look at how lovely they come out.
They come out nicely. I think they're really beautiful, Gloria. And I think your mother will agree. We'll have to ask her after a while if she agrees that they really came out nicely. And now, to go with our bagels, we're going to make some lox, because that's, of course, a big part of the bagels and lox. And you may think that this is not such an easy thing to make. But when we show you, and you'll say to your guests, you know, maybe you want to have somebody over after Shabbos. That's a very nice thing to do. You go to shul or to synagogue, you come home and invite a guest to come over with you. That's a very lovely, lovely feeling. And it's a nice way to relax and spend the day together. I think that if you do it once, you don't get the feeling. But you try it for a while and invite some people to come back home with you. You'll see what a very, very nice feeling it is. And we're going to show you how to make some lox. And then what you say to your guests is, this took me 5 days. 5 days, they'll say. Oh my goodness, Eenie, that was really a complicated affair. Well, listen, nothing is easy. But wait till we tell you the whole trick. Then you'll know that it really was a pretty easy kind of a thing to do. Now here's what we're going to do. Buy a 1 pound fillet of salmon. Still keep the skin on it and just lay it down, and we're going to put a mixture of salts and sugar on it. Now here we have 1 tablespoon of hickory salt. This is what it's called. It's called smoked hickory salt. 1 tablespoon of hickory salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 3 tablespoons of salt, of regular table salt. Now Gloria was telling me that we really have to be careful when we put this on. Right,
yes,
Gloria?
Right, because if you're not careful, if you don't really have the seasonings all so that they are distributed very evenly all over the lox, over the salmon, then parts will be more smoky or more salty. So be very careful about distributing the seasonings carefully.
So when we put it on, you should be able to kind of see the black on it as you put it on here.
Right.
With it? Oh, good. Here, let's put it on and see how it looks. You've got kind of a black and white feeling.
Right.
And if you don't see the black in it, I didn't realize that, but you know, you're absolutely right. Watch it as you're putting this on, because this is going to set on here for 5 days, and it's going to give it a wonderful, wonderful feeling if you're really lox lovers. You know, now those of you who are maybe Nova lovers, that's something else, but real lox lovers, they are really going to go for this. This is a 1 pound of salmon, and this is the recipe that we will give you, and has 1 tablespoon of hickory salt, 2 tablespoons sugar, 3 tablespoons table salt. Wrap this all in saran wrap and put it in your refrigerator. That is day 1. Day 2, do not do a thing. You can look at it, but just leave it just the way it is. Day 3, turn it over. And when you turn it over once, I took it out of the wrapping to show you what it looks like. here's what happens on day 3. Already the brine is coming up. Can you see not only the darkness on it, but you can see that it's developed a juicy brine all the way around it. And this juice will become even larger and larger as a couple days go by. And this is giving it a very, very nice flavor. Oh my gosh. Gloria, give it a smell. What do you think? That's really getting ready.
It smells good.
When you eat this, you're going to really know you're eating smoked salmon. And you know this is the real thing. I wonder how they do it in those stores. What was that joke they used to tell about you walk in for the lox and he says, how much do you want? And he says, cut, cut, cut. And he finally gets to the middle of the whole belly and he says, how much do you want? He says, I'll take 2 slices. They always want it right from the middle. This is right from the middle. When you buy your filet, you just get it right from the middle. Day 4, turn it over once more. Day 5, turn it back once more. And then take your lox and wash it all off. Wash off all of the brine, and then you slice it the long way. I had Jack really going crazy last night. Jack, come on, give this a good slice. And he says, but slice it this way. I said, no, you cannot slice it this way. You must turn it and slice it this way on the diagonal, and you'll see how nicely it comes out. Now, doesn't that look like delicious lox? It really has a wonderful look, and Gloria, what do you think? You see,
It's
even
really
after the
smells
5
like
days,
lox.
it has a different feeling there than it does here with it. All right, we're going to get this ready and show you how really good this is going to look. And this will be all wrapped up in your refrigerator. After you put it in the saran wrap, you can put it in a plastic bag and tie it so that it'll keep the odor out of the refrigerator. Although, true confessions, you still might have a little odor in the refrigerator for it for a couple of days, but it's worth it, and it really is a wonderful thing to make. And I know that you're going to enjoy it because it's a super thing. Now, if you're going to have some people over for brunch on Saturday after shul, or what about ask the Machatanim on a Sunday? Oh, would they be impressed to think that you made bagels and lox? They would really think you were doing something. The Machatanim. Did I tell you who the Machatanim are? This is one of the wonderful words in Yiddish. It tells a story of a whole people. It tells about a people who have wandered through the diaspora, through the world, in every country of the world for 2,000 years, who love each other and know each other and feel close to each other. It's an extended family. In English, if we want to talk about our children's, our daughter's husband's parents, or our son's wife's parents, it's a complicated thing, but not in Yiddish. The Machatanim are these people, and they're part of our extended family, and they're part of our Shabbos table, and they're part of our Sunday brunches. And this is a very beautiful part of what we enjoy doing and being a part of. And I think our children growing up in these attitudes too bring to us these very wonderful feelings. Now we're going to have bagels and lox. We have to have cream cheese. So how about let's have a little company cream cheese? What can we do with this cream cheese to make it a little fancy, to give it a little bit of a pizzazz here? How about, Gloria, if we decorate this cream cheese? No one
Terrific.
will ever believe it. Come on, the two of us.
Sounds good.
Let's take some cloves and stick them in the cream cheese. And if you really like things that have a good taste to it, you can do this the night before, and it'll get the taste will come into the cream cheese. Or if you would rather not have anything on it, but I think this is fun. I think it gives it a little extra taste because cream cheese itself is not too tasty. Or you can color it. You can soften it and color it. You know where they did that? On this wonderful picture. Did you see this marvelous picture that Gloria brought over here? Gloria actually sells posters, and she sells this one. I think that's fabulous, Gloria. If you would like this poster, by the way, just write to me at the Enie's Kitchen. Isn't that marvelous? Now there what they did was just add a little food coloring to the cream cheese to give it a little flavor. But instead of just the coloring, you know what I would do with that? I would also add a little flavoring, because I think when you see something colored, you almost expect it to have a little coloring on it. All right, now to make this taste even better, what are we going to put on this cream cheese to really give it a good flavor? Caviar. How about that?
That's for
I don't
the,
know. Let her go for caviar?
well, not really.
Not
But
too
that's
much.
all right. I'll make up for it.
Here we go. We're going to give this a nice, wonderful feeling of a nice caviar.
Like company cream cheese.
Company cream cheese. This
Right.
is what we're going to call it. And I think your company is really going to love this. And what's simple about this is you really don't have to do too much more with a lox and bagel lunch or dinner, or have the people. You can have it all ready when you go to shul or you leave or you're going to have an ufruf. Have you ever been to an ufruf? Wonderful moment. Children are going to get married. And the Shabbat before they're going to get married, they come to the synagogue to be blessed. And we in America have picked up this beautiful ceremony that's so much like what they do in Israel. That as they come up to have their aliyah and to be blessed at the ark, you see these ushers coming down the hall because the parents have given the ushers all kinds of candy. And all of a sudden, unobtrusively, you see all the little boys and girls in the synagogue, and they're all running up to the front, and they're hiding, they're crouching underneath. And after the bride and the groom are blessed and have an aliyah, with one big throw, we all take the candy and give a good throw at the bride and groom so that they'll have a sweet, sweet, happy marriage. And afterwards, it is, after all, your friends have come to the Ufruf. So there again, it's very nice to invite them to come back to your house and have a lovely lox and bagel brunch. And I think that this is just the right kind. Now, what should we serve for dessert with something like this? I don't think you would want anything too heavy. So how about if we just have a very light fruit supreme, we'll call it. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take some of the fresh fruits that are around. And I just want to tell you one little secret about putting fruits together. Now here, we have three nectarines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and here's 3 peaches. You want to blend that in?
Sure.
And if you cook with me all the time, you know, Gloria, what I always say, don't mush everything up. Don't make everything into such little pieces. Do you find that too?
I agree with you. I hate fruit when it's cut in little pieces. I like nice big pieces of fruit.
Chunks. It's almost like pureed when you let it go. And here's some marvelous blueberries. And again, here's a lovely, beautiful glass bowl, Gloria. And if you're going to use your good silver spoon on here, you know that eventually that's going to chip the sides. Try to use either wood or something else, because that is really going to chop this off. Now then, in order to really give the fresh fruit a better flavor, add a little canned fruit. Does that sound strange? But it's a good idea. Now this is the big chunks. Have you seen the mixed fruit that comes in the big chunks? And I'm leaving a little bit of the syrup in it because I think that gives it a little better flavor again. Or if you have even maraschino cherries in the house, use some of that juice. You see how the juice right away is giving this a better feeling?
If any of the fruit is a little tart, it will sweeten it up too.
With it, right. And now to add to that, because we want this fruit to really be something special, we are going to add 1 cup of whipped cream. Well, we didn't say this was going to be a low-cal brunch. All we said is it's going to be a delicious brunch. And look at how nice this is going to look, and I think that our guests are really going to enjoy it. And we'll top it off with a 1/2 cup of coconut. Oh boy, this is really going to make it good. Now then, when we serve it in the little dishes like this, in order to make the little dishes look a little prettier, look at what I'm going to do. Gloria, you want to serve somebody
Sure.
in one of these
There
little
we
dishes?
are.
And I took some flowers out of the garden. And all you do is take a couple little flowers, or even if you have some mint or something, it really adds so much to it and makes it look so much prettier. Put a little foil around the bottom and just stick it right inside.
Oh, is that cute?
Now look at what a
Very
very nice
pretty.
dessert. So that this really makes it a very simple, easy, lovely luncheon. And I think that when you bring something like this to the table and you bring your guests, it makes a big difference. I don't think that guests feel comfortable if you, as the host and the hostess, are so busy running back and forth every minute that you don't really know what you're doing. You've got to be calm. You have to be prepared yourself in order for your guests to feel calm. Don't you find that, Gloria?
Yes, very true. Those are very true words. You have to really be relaxed, and even though you might not be relaxed, you have to look like you're relaxed when you're serving your guests. I think that's a very important thing, that they feel that you're enjoying their company and enjoying whatever you're doing with them.
And you really wanted them to come,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a large part of togetherness. It's a large part of the traditions that we try to teach in the kitchen, that we try to tell our children how we feel about life and living and the things that we do. And so I think that this luncheon is going to work out just beautifully. Here, we'll bring out the plates and we'll show you how this is going to set up. Here is our lovely, oh, look at, in this short time, I'm going to show you this lox again, just in this short time, to show you how nicely, how this brine sets up. You see, in just these few minutes, you can see the darkness coming in. Now you see how this is going to work out. After this is going to be in the refrigerator for a few days, you see how this brine is going to take hold. And I think we've done a pretty even job here, because the dark and the light is pretty evenly set over it. So this is the way that your lox will set up. If you want to do, this is 1 pound. And this will serve, well, here you can see, this is 1 pound that's sliced, this is 1 pound that's done. So you can figure on the number of people you're having about how much you would want to do. Now, Mrs. Fisher, how about come over and you check it out and tell us what you think. You think we did a good job? Do we pass?
You do. You certainly do.
But truly, this is a beautiful part of it, because I think it reminds me, or makes us remember, the 5th commandment. Honor thy mother and thy father, and remember the moments that you spent together in the kitchen, because those are the meaningful parts of life. And I hope that you'll be with us again as we come back to Enie's Kitchen. Shalom.
Unter ihnen ist wie steht a klar weiß Ziel.